All right, so let's get back into 5.2 now, which gets into rounding decimal numbers. So now the rules for rounding decimal numbers are the same as for rounding integers or whole numbers, except for the last step. So again, the first couple steps are the same. We got to locate the digit to be rounded, called the rounding digit, and that's going to be based off of the place value. And then if the number to the right of the rounding digit is 5 or more, we add 1, 4 or less, leave it alone. But then because we're on the decimal side, on the right side of the decimal point, we can drop all the digits. We don't need to put zeros in. It doesn't make a decimal any better if you have a bunch of trailing zeros or if they're gone. So we're just going to drop them off. All right, so let's jump right in. Round each number to the indicated place value. So we got 16.8974, which isn't the proper way to say it, but we're going to be lazy this time. All right, so the nearest tenth. So again, you got to know your place values. So the 10th spot is right here, the 8. So now we look at the number to the right, which is a 9. So we got to add 1 to it, which makes it a 9. So we got 16.9, and then all the digits after it gone. So that's it, 16.9. All right, let's try the next one. Thousandths. So thousandths, which digit are we looking at? Where is the rounding digit? Thousandths. It is the 7, yeah, the 3rd spot. So now the number to the right is a 4, so we gotta leave it alone. So we got 16.897, and that's it. Drop off that last digit. All right. Not much to it. It's really the same process as before, but now we just have the luxury of dropping those off. Now, a question you might say was, well, what happens if I do leave those zeros in? Would you take off for that, Mr. Susi, if I left those in? Nah, probably not. But you should get in the habit of just not putting them in. It's cleaner if you don't have all those extra places when you don't really need them. So, okay, how about the next one? Nearest hundredth. So which digit are we looking at? Nearest hundredth, yep, the 5. So the 5 is the hundredth, so the number to the right is a 6. So now, this does have a negative in front, so don't forget that negative. So we have negative 0.96. So that's going to round that 5 up to a 6. All right, 10,000th. So the 10,000th would be which digit for that one? So tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000. So the 4. So negative 0.9564. Is that right? Whoops, I made a boo-boo. Remember, we got to round up. So that 4 is going to go up to a 5. So, oops, now we got a double. We don't know, is it right or wrong? Let's try it again. There we go, we got it right. All right, so now we should be good with that one. Now, money, of course, is always a little bit different, but I think we can handle money as well. It's really the same thing. Just gotta be, we got a little bit differences with the decimals in some cases. All right, so we got $499.89. So if we're rounding it to the nearest dollar, well, what would we round it to? So the nearest dollar would be this first place value to the left of the decimal point. So now the 8 says we want to round it up. So this would be 500 bucks. So 500 bucks for that one. How about the nearest 10 cents? So what digit are we looking at for the nearest 10 cents? So yeah, we're going to have to be looking at this 8. That's the nearest 10 cents. So the number to the right is a 9, so we got to add 1. So this is going to be $499.90. So here, that extra 0 is encouraged because we're talking about money. So we always like 2 decimal places when we're talking about dollars and cents. So in this case, we do want to put that 0 in. All right. What about this one? So we got .996. That's weird. 3 decimal places on money? Well, sometimes that happens, but not too often. But if we're rounding this to the nearest cent, which digit are we looking at? So, nearest cent. Well, we're going to have to be looking at the 9 in the middle here. So, if we look at the number to the right, which is a 6, we've got to add 1, which makes it a 10, which means we add 1, which makes it a 10, which add 1, which makes it a 1. So this is really $1 to the nearest penny. Yeah, so we have to round it up, which bumps it up to $1. All right. So what about the next one then? If we're running it to the nearest dollar. Well, the nearest dollar is the first place value on the left. So what are we going to do? That 9 says we got to round it up to a 1. And then everything afterwards changes to zeros. So this is also $1. Now, if you wanted to write $1 like this, or if you wanted to write $1 like that, either one of those would be fine. Same thing with this answer here. We could have wrote $500 like this, but if we wanted to write it with the 2 zeros, we could do it that way too. So you got a little bit more options and a little bit more restrictions actually as well when you're talking about money. So just, be careful with those cases. So, but as far as the overall process, I think we got it nailed, right? All right. So that wraps up 5.2. Let's stay tuned for the next one.